Okay, so far we have learned how to find the volume of cylinders, cones, and spheres, and then we kind of, last Friday, we mixed them all up. The lesson today is over the volume of what's called composite figures. Now, a composite figure is two or more figures put together. And it might look something like this. So if you look at this figure, what you see is this cone sitting on top of the cylinder. So what you have to do is you have to find the volume of the cone, find the volume of the cylinder, and then the volume of the composite figure would be those two volumes put together or added together. So the first thing that I do is I look at the picture and I determine what figures I'm dealing with. They've already kind of determined that for you, a cone and a cylinder. So then I write my formulas for everything that I'm going to need to combine. So I've got a cone and a cylinder. So I get my formula chart out. Cone, I have this written in my notes, 1/3 pi r squared h. So I'm going to write that, 1/3 pi r squared h. And the volume of the cylinder, I have written right here, pi r squared h. It's almost exactly the same except no 1/3. So the cylinder would be pi r squared h. All right, so that's step one, write the formulas. Step two would be to fill everything in. So for this one, 1/3 pi, excuse me, my radius is given to me right down here. This circle and this circle, remember, you have two bases that are the same size and the same shape. So if this radius down here is 15, this one up here is also 15. So my radius is 15 squared, and the height of the cone is 21 feet. Okay? Then, of course I don't have my calculator handy. So then I solve. So I'm going to do 1/3 times pi times 15 squared times 21. So the volume of the cone is 4,948.01. Okay? Next, I'm going to do the cylinder. Pi times, my radius is still 15. The height of the cylinder, I'm just dealing with this figure down here, the height of the cylinder is 26. So, I'll do pi times 15 squared times 26. So that is 18,378.3. The volume is going to be, the whole figure is going to be the volume of the cone plus the volume of the cylinder. So you're going to do the cone plus the cylinder. So that means I'm going to do 4,948.01 plus 18,378.3. So I'll get my calculator, 4948.01 plus 18378.3. 23,326.3, and it does say to the nearest tenth, so I would have just one number after the decimal. So my answer is 23,326.3, and this is in feet, still cubed because we're dealing with volume. And that's it. So it's really kind of like two problems shoved together. Okay? This one right down here. We've got this cylinder here, and then we've got this half a sphere up here. Now we'll talk about that in a second, but that's why they've got it divided into a sphere and a cylinder. Remember, this is only half of a sphere, so we'll talk about that in just a second. It says find the volume of a grain silo with half a sphere on one end that has a diameter of 6, so the length across here, because it says diameter, is 6, and a height of 15 inches. So this height right here is 15. Okay? All right, so I've got a sphere. I'm going to write my formula for sphere. It's right here. So I'm going to do 4/3 pi r cubed. Now, I've got to remember to divide this whole thing by 2 after I get my volume of the whole sphere. I've got to cut it in half because this is only half the sphere. Okay? I'll show you that in a second. Volume of a cylinder. That's right here. Pi r squared h. So I'm going to write that here. Okay? All right, so now we fill in our formula. 4/3 times pi times the radius. If my diameter is 6, my radius is half that. So 3 cubed, and I've got to remember to divide by 2. Okay? Here's how I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put in 4/3 times pi times 3 cubed. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here. I'm going to get this. Now I just need to divide by 2. I don't need to retype this. I'm just going to say, all right, now divide that. I'm going to hit the divide key by 2. See, it says answer divided by 2. It's talking about this answer divided by 2. Hit enter, and I get 56.54. Does it tell me to round to anything? It doesn't. So I'm going to put 56.5. We rounded the other to the 10th. So I'll put 56.5 for that one. This is just something you're going to have to recognize. It's not going to be a part of your formula chart. You've got to recognize that this is only half of the sphere, so that means you're going to have to divide it by 2 in the end. Okay? Now the cylinder. I've already written the formula, pi times, my radius is the same, 3 squared times the height. Okay, so I'm going to do pi times 3 squared times 15. And I get 424.1. Right? The area of the whole figure would be the half sphere plus the cylinder. Oops. So the half sphere is right here, 56.5, plus 424.1. So I'm going to do 56.5 plus 424.1. I get 480.6. 480.6. And this is in inches. Inches. Still dealing with volume, so my units would be cubed. And that's it. Composite figures is just a matter of breaking the figure up into two or more figures and then putting those volumes together. That's it.